Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Today's episode was designed to fill you with excitement like never before and your heart racing in ways you never thought was possible. Ready? Let's jump right into it. We like to start with big and grand things, literally, but today is a bit different. While the creature we start with may not be big or ginormous in size, it's got a mystery that makes it worth the spot. Take a look. What do you think that is? You can't say, right? Well, so is every single person we've shown the capture to. Nobody has been able to describe the creature thus far, which is no surprise, given how it looks. It does kinda look like a bird, that's certainly true, but what kind of bird looks like that? None that we're aware of. When you tune your mind off it potentially being a bird, it appears to have the silhouette of a sloth, albeit a much smaller and yellowish one. As you can probably tell by now, we've no idea what we're dealing with, but that could also be because we have untrained eyes as far as wildlife is concerned. Do any of you know what this is? Can you educate us, please? Would really love to know. Next, we've something we can all recognize. In fact, take a look at the footage. Now, it starts off as very uneventful, but after a few seconds, just around the side mirror of the vehicle, we see some eyes peering out. Now, as if having eyes appear from nowhere when you're sleeping in your vehicle in the woods was not scary enough, when you pay attention to the eyes that appeared, you realize that they're not human at all. In fact, they look like they belong to a wild creature, most likely a canine or wolf creature to be specific. But how's that possible? The angle at which those eyes appear make it evident that they most likely and definitely belong to a humanoid. But wolves aren't humanoids now, are they? So what exactly are we dealing with here? If you've been on this channel for a while, then I'm pretty sure you should have an intelligent guess by now. My team and I believe we could be dealing with the legendary Dogman. The individual filming adds that there's actually more than one Dogman creature and states that the howls we hear in the background are from the others. The vehicle shakes a bit, and our guess is that the creatures are responsible for it. The man lives through, so we can confidently state that he makes it out alive, but what do you think of the whole thing? Do those eyes truly belong to Dogman? Are we reading more meaning into something we shouldn't, or is the man simply playing with our intelligence? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Characters like Headless Nick and other headless characters from popular movies have given us a love-hate relationship with headless characters. But what would you do if you ran into one of those characters in person? Well, what you are seeing is an actual headless individual, or at least an individual that looks like one that was captured on a home security camera. Now, the homeowner, of course, was freaking out and decided to upload the footage online. Why, you ask? So we could confirm if this was real or not. Looking at it, what do you think? Real, or is someone just messing with her? Have you ever seen a mastiff scared? Well, the individual recording our next footage saw her pup truly terrified for the first time as they went through the woods, and you won't believe what they encountered. Yes, that, my friend, is a Bigfoot. At least, we think it is. Looking at what's on your screen, does any other creature come to mind? None, right? Before you jump in and say we are dealing with an ape, know that New Hampshire has no apes. That leaves us with only one plausible explanation. We are dealing with a Bigfoot. Do you think otherwise? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Do you think spirits like to mess with humans? Because that's the only plausible explanation for our next clip. In fact, take a look. The footage starts off with some odd smoky or mist-like creature forming on the right side of the vehicle. Within some seconds, the mist becomes rather solid and ran across the highway just before the vehicle got there. Bear in mind that this was recorded by the vehicle's dash cam, which means everything happened in basically a few seconds. The appearance of the being is ghostly and ethereal in nature, which leads us back to our question. Do spirits mess with humans? Was this mist messing with him as well? Why did it appear on the right when it clearly wanted to be on the left? Why didn't it wait for them to pay before crossing? Unless it wanted to be seen by them. But why? So many questions and yet no answers. Still on strange spirits, take a look at this next clip. If anything, this capture is much more creepier and disturbing than the other. What is that? Why is it moving left and right? Why does it look like that? We did our research and checks and found out that it looks like no cryptid or paranormal entity ever recorded and sent to us. In simpler terms, we don't know what it is, nor can we even begin to understand its existence. Is it a wandering spirit? Did it just materialize in our plane? Is it back for vengeance? These are questions that plague our minds, yet they are also questions we may never have answers to. Have you ever encountered something like this? Tell us about your experience. Now imagine setting up a trail camera to capture wildlife, and instead, you captured this. Did you see that? Did you see them? Those odd-looking balls of light. The man who originally posted this could not seem to make out what he'd captured. After it was uploaded, the internet did what it does best: provide answers. What do you think that is? If you thought anything than a cat, you were extremely wrong. While it may look puzzling at first, anyone who's been around cats will recognize that those lights are nothing more than eyes belonging to cats at night. What do you think? Before you move on to the next clip, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and even drop a comment in the comments section. It goes a long way to help us produce more videos for you. Thank you very much for doing so, it means a lot. Moving back to today's episode. Fire doesn't just form out of thin air now, does it? If you answered yes, then how do you explain this? And yes, you are looking at some sort of fiery bubble that suddenly appeared in the sky, but just as quickly as it appeared, it disappeared without a trace. What could it have been? Well, no one knows. All we have are speculations, including our very own. Some suggest it could be a secret weapon that was being tested, while others think it could be a paranormal event. There's not much information to go on with, so it's hard to prove or disprove anything. Either way, what do you think we might be dealing with? Tell us in the comments section below. Speaking of strange paranormal occurrences and beings, take a look at this next capture. What comes to mind when you see it? Literally the devil, right? It has this demonic and ominous feel to it. Its physique and either pointed ears or horns have this demonic feel to it. What makes this crazy is the fact that it was captured by a trail cam hidden in the woods. Now, the owner had noticed weird things happening in those woods, including animals being found with their blood drained or partially eaten. Anyone who knows anything about the wild will know that no food gets wasted and predators do not kill animals for its blood. The owner of the camera had long suspected that something weird was going on, but never did he ever think he would discover something like this as the reason. Now, he refused to disclose his location, but what would you do in his situation? Tell us in the comments section. Speaking of creatures with pointed appendages, what do you think is happening with the antlers of this deer? If you've watched any of our previous videos, you would have caught me explaining how deer and other cervidae antlers are formed. I've also explained their shedding and growing process. To make sure you're being very good students, I'm going to ask questions instead of telling you what's going on. So, question number 1. What do you think is happening with the deer? Question number 2. Is this something normal or is the deer sick? Start your answer with the word deer so I know you were responding to this. The best answers get a shout out in our next video. I can't wait to see the kinds of answers you guys come up with. For our next clip, we travel back in time to April 2019. What do you see when you look at the footage? There's a creature hiding behind the foliage, hoping it has not been seen. But you and I, alongside the individual who recorded it, can clearly see it. One question remains, however. What creature is that? While many answers may be subjective, I can't help but feel that we're looking at a Bigfoot trying its best to hide in plain sight. I know the video isn't very clear, but if you try very hard, you can see the creature's belt and fur. The uploader was very sure it was not dealing with a bear or any other type of ape because they're practically not common or present in the area where he recorded the clip. That leaves only one culprit: Bigfoot. What do you think? Speaking of Bigfoot, do you know what they sound like? Well, we have footage from Rough Mountain, Colorado, where there are alleged Bigfoot vocalizations. Watch and listen.
What is that?
That was Bigfoot.
Seriously?
Do you hear those sounds? They don't sound like any animal you know, do they? The individual recording is convinced that they're from Bigfoot and tells the family member asking about it the same thing. And guess what? After they were done with their activity, on their way back, they actually came across footprints that were much larger than any associated with your average man, or any other creature for that matter. They were then very convinced that they were dealing with a Bigfoot. Looking at these footprints and the strange vocalizations, do you think they may have really encountered Bigfoot? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Are there aliens living among us? Do you have first contact? Anyone who is interested in extraterrestrial life would have heard these questions. But are they questions we have answers to? Well, our next clip will suggest so. Take a look. Yeah, you're actually seeing right. Those are alien-looking creatures standing in what looks like a farm area or a barn, staring in the direction of the camera. We don't have the history or background of the footage, but it's being paraded on paranormal platforms as being footage of aliens. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. This footage starts off as an innocent one of buffaloes, and it might have stayed that way if you don't pay attention to the footage. But once you start paying attention, you see it. There in the top right corner of the clip, there's a figure moving from the right to the left. Judging by its size in relation to the buffaloes we see, we can tell it's massive because if you know anything about buffaloes, you know that they are massive. But what could that be? You don't need to be an expert to know we are definitely dealing with a Bigfoot. Although it's quite the distance in the footage, you can tell there's some fur there and it's got a human-like stride. There's no other being in existence that's got both features going for it except the Bigfoot. But what do you make of the whole thing? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. Do you believe in ghosts? How then do you explain this? The footage starts off with a young girl leaving home. Her comments when she uploaded the footage showed that she was actually going to work on an early morning shift, specifically 2 a.m., which is dawn. Her neighborhood is safe, so there was nothing to worry about. At least that's what she thought, until a mist-looking intangible entity appeared from the left and went after her. No one would have believed her but for the CCTV camera that captured the whole thing. She concluded that the thing was a ghost, but no one had died in her home or neighborhood recently, which left her perplexed as to why she, of all people, would be chased. She posted it online seeking answers. There are many possibilities for this, from living in a haunted house to touching something she wasn't supposed to. I could go on, but that would all be speculation. Who has experienced this before? Can you share your experience with the rest of us? We'd love to know. Do you love fish? If you answered yes, then can you tell me what on earth that is? It's hard to make sense of this because its upper body somewhat looks human, with the rest of its body looking like a fish. Could this be what real life and actual mermaids look like? On second thought, I doubt that's in any way a mermaid. It seems to be struggling to get by. Could it be some mutated organism or even perhaps a mutated mermaid? I know this sounds like a far stretch when you think about it, but how else can we explain that? Quite frankly, my team and I are out of options or even opinions. What do you think about the whole thing? Share your thoughts with us. For our next footage, we visit Mother Russia. Take a look. What you see on your screen was actually captured by some school children who were out in the woods doing what young boys do. They expected to be alone, but unbeknownst to them, they were actually invading the space of a creature that resides in the area. From the footage, we can see it moving in the background. The young kids believed they met the Yeti, and I can't fault them for thinking so because I was not there with them. One thing bothers me though. The Yeti is described as having white fur, but what we see in the footage clearly does not. This leaves me conflicted. I'm currently wondering if our ideologies on the Yeti have been wrong all this while, or if the boys are simply lying so they could get some clout. What do you think? Speaking of questionable Bigfoot captures, take a look at this next one. This was apparently captured by a man in his car while he was on a trip. He saw the creature from afar, got close enough to take a look at it, and ran away. Now, I'm no skeptic when it comes to Bigfoot, but I simply have so many questions when it comes to this footage. First off, the area doesn't look like a place where someone is casually driving around, so how did this vehicle get into such an area to see the Bigfoot? Assuming we believe him and what he's saying is true, pay attention to the Bigfoot's movements. They are so much more human than that of a giant creature. Do you see the discrepancies that I'm seeing too, or do you have a different opinion? Please share in the comments section. Our next capture takes us to Oregon, where we have another sighting of the elusive Bigfoot. Take a look. Now, this capture is a bit more convincing, and that's a big, hulky build. This was captured in one woodland area in Oregon. The uploader refuses to share further details, but imagine running into this while exploring the woods. You'd definitely not be fine for a while. Do you think I'm being overly dramatic comparing this with the previous one, or do you think the previous one is more convincing? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section. Stepping away from Bigfoot, we have a very disturbing capture. Take a look. What do you think this is? A rake, an alien, or some other type of cryptid? The truth is, it doesn't look like any of these creatures if you ask me. Sure, it's got the white skin and alien physique to go with it, but when you truly think about it, you realize that this creature looks like it came from a different realm or world. Unfortunately, try as we might, we can't match it to any other cryptid we know. What do you think this is? Am I missing something? Have you encountered something like this before? Share your experiences and theories with us in the comments section. This next footage will shock even the most open-minded of us. Instead of me talking plenty, just watch. Looks like a woman sitting in a tree, doesn't it? More like a saint of some sorts, but is it really? Turns out it's not. According to the uploader of the footage, what you see on your screen is actually what was mysteriously found in the tree. It had either suddenly appeared there overnight, or they had just not noticed it in each of their visitations to the woods, which is most unlikely since they visit often according to them. But even if it had been there long, who put it there and why? What would be the benefit of having a statue in a tree? Who would see it? What if it falls? This is where the myths and stories come in. Some believe it could be an ancestor or saint reappearing and making a statement to them. Sounds like a scene from the Tomb Raider or something, but right now we don't have much to go on. What do you think? Our next capture sends us all the way to Japan. And no, it's not about shinigamis or ninjas or anything of that sort. Instead, it's about crop circles. Bet you didn't expect that, but what comes to mind when you see these crop circles? Aliens, right? With all the alien buzz going on around, when I saw the capture, I automatically assumed that they were left there by aliens, but turns out there's actually a logical explanation. These were not the result of anything alien, but simply put, the experiment of aliens, I mean some scientists in Japan. Based on documentation acquired from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries in Japan, it was revealed that in 1973, a specific land area close to Nishinan City was designated for experimental forestry. Among the experiments conducted in this area, one of them aimed to assess the impact of tree spacing on tree growth. The result of the experiment is what you see on your screens. Disappointing, yes, but at least we have answers. Unlike our next clip. This footage was captured by individuals who went into an abandoned hospital to see what they could find. Once I read this, my mind was like, what else do you expect to find in the hospital? Anyway, if you pay attention to the footage, you'll see that he is the last in his group since he's recording. When he turns around with the camera, however, we see another frail, weak-looking man behind him. Within some seconds, however, this image of the man suddenly disappears, which leaves you wondering, what just happened? Well, some believe it's a ghost. Well, actually, all believe it's a ghost, and I don't see any other explanation for it. Do you? What do you think this is? Ape? Bear? Bigfoot? Well, the individual who took the pictures says it's a Bigfoot. The image was captured near the border of New Mexico, which is known as a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings. Initially, it was thought that this Bigfoot was carrying lumber, but after critical analysis, they realized that it was actually a deer, and its head and antlers can be seen behind if you look closely enough. Is this the evidence we needed to know that Bigfoots are actually hunters and gatherers? Do they have their own recipes for eating wild animals, or do they eat them raw? I'm so tempted to visit the area just to confirm this for myself, but knowing me, I'd either collapse on seeing Bigfoot or end up with a meal. If that were to happen, who would collect your paranormal footage for you? For the sake of you guys, I'm willing to put this stream on hold so I can bring you quality content. On that note, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now. It really helps us out a ton and gives me the opportunity to keep making these videos for you. Thank you very much. Moving on. Now, seeing this footage gives me the heebie-jeebies. If you were a pre-90s baby like me and grew up watching movies like Anaconda et al., you'd understand. Movies like that made my generation fear big snakes, but not Gen Z and some members of Gen Y. They enjoyed touching and helping snakes, which is exactly what we see in the footage. Here they are helping the snake cross the street. I guess that's a good thing because it helps preserve these snake species and keep their populations healthy. I can't even tell what species it is whenever I see a big snake. I just see an anaconda. To my snake enthusiasts out there, can you recognize the creature and tell us what exact species it is? Or was I right in calling it an anaconda? Imagine you're riding a bike and almost hit a young lady, and then she disappears when you turn around to make sure she's fine. That's exactly what happened to the cyclist you see in the footage. Spooked, he uploaded this online, and all who saw it had one thing to say. It's definitely a yurei. The young man was Asian, hence the Asian paranormal. For my folks in the West, a yurei is a spectral being from Japanese folklore and mythology. They're typically depicted as vengeful spirits of the dead and are associated with ghostly apparitions, hauntings, and supernatural occurrences like what the young man experienced. They're typically dressed in kimonos or funeral attires, which makes me wonder if what we saw was truly one. But if they're vengeful spirits, what did the young man do to attract one? Either way, what do you all think? Do we have Asians in our audience? Can you throw more light on this? This next one is for the hunters, but before I show it to you, do you guys have any weird encounters when hunting? If you do, please share it in the comments. If you have pictures or footage, please mail them to classifiedcaptures@gmail.com and we'll gladly show them and give you the credit. Coming back to our footage, take a look. Do you see those beady eyes and the head it belongs to? This was captured by a hunter while out on a hunt. While it's easy to miss the first time, the hunter insists that this was a paranormal being that was tailing him whenever he came to the forest. It always appears and reappears in spots that are hard for him to see. On the day he recorded, however, he was intentional about finding it and taking evidence because everyone laughed at him whenever he spoke about it. Do you see it too? Do you believe it's real, or do you think out of desperation he might have resulted in CGI to prove his point? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. The creature you see on your screen has murdered many and drank the blood of countless others. Not many have escaped its powerful gaze, and it has even developed a taste for human blood. It stuns its victims with its blood gaze and then proceeds to drink enough of their blood to keep them alive but weak. This is the vampire deer. Well, don't mind me, that was just a tease. And no, despite having those fangs, the creature you see doesn't suck blood. The Chinese water deer, also known as the water deer or vampire deer, due to its prominent fangs, is a small species of deer native to China and Korea. It's a unique and distinct species known for its appearance and behavior. Believe me when I tell you that despite having protruding upper canine teeth that can be as long as 3 inches, their diet primarily consists of a variety of plants, including aquatic vegetation, grasses, and shrubs. They use those canines for territorial displays and occasionally for combat. In other words, they're safe. No vampire is coming for your blood. Or are they? The footage you are seeing is from Jacksonville, and yes, those are clowns. Imagine waking up and seeing clowns standing at your door with clubs or some other mysterious object in their hands. Would you run, or would you stay? With my experience in all things paranormal, trust me when I say I'd run, and I'd run very quickly. It's better to be laughed at for being afraid than to die at the hands of some killer clown because you underestimated it. But am I being paranoid? Do I sound paranoid? Maybe I need a break, but either way, you have to agree, this is creepy. It turned out to be a practical joke, but clearly many of the individuals who experienced it didn't think so. For our next clip, we travel all the way to the Philippines. A farmer here had a mysterious encounter on his farm, capturing what appears to be a mythical creature known as a sibgin. For our Western audience, sibgins are blood-sucking creatures that roam the night, often moving backwards with their heads facing down. They're very popular in Filipino folklore and are believed to be pitch black and possess the ability to cloak themselves, making them elusive and eerie. In the footage, the farmer can be seen extending his hand toward the creature in an attempt to lure it closer. But as it approaches and he sees what it is, he throws pebbles at it and the creature then retreats. Before you scream animal abuse or harassment, these creatures are very deadly despite their small size. It's highly unusual to witness a sibgin out in broad daylight, adding to the intrigue and mystery surrounding these mythical creatures. This creature spotted in Montana appears to be a truly unusual and unsettling entity. It appears to have characteristics resembling a mix of a wolf, a human, and a hyena. Its head is reminiscent of a wolf, the body is similar to a hyena, and its front limbs resemble those of a human. The creature's dark fur adds to its eerie and intimidating appearance, earning it comparisons to a nightmarish bloodhound. In paranormal circles, such a creature may often be referred to as a dogman. Some suggest it might be a werewolf, while others propose a more scientific explanation, such as a hybrid animal. Regardless of its origins, this creature certainly has an intimidating and fearsome presence that would deter anyone from attempting to approach or interact with it. Yes, it's scary, and while I want it to be very real, a second look makes me think it could all be CGI. What do you think? Next, we have footage from some young explorers who were exploring the enchanted forest of Tofino. It was all good until they had a perplexing encounter. Take a look. They managed to capture footage of a mysterious creature, but the creature had its back to the camera as it walked away. The footage primarily shows the creature's dark, furry back, partially concealed by the trees. What's truly intriguing is that this creature appears to be walking on two legs, as the video reveals. The hikers were astounded by the sight and even ventured closer to the location where they'd spotted the creature. Their surprise deepened when they discovered fresh tracks left by the creature. The prints bore a striking resemblance to human footprints, but were considerably much larger. Convinced that they hadn't encountered a bear, but rather a humanoid creature, they contemplated the possibility of it being a Bigfoot. Looking at the footage, I can see why they think that. I mean, do you know any other creature that could leave prints that human-like and large? If you do, please share it with us in the comments section. Until then, the conclusion is that that's a Bigfoot. Before you move on to the next clip, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and even drop a comment in the comments section. It goes a long way to help us produce more videos for you. Thanks very much for doing so. It means a lot. Moving back to today's episode. Do you believe aliens are real? Did you just have an iota of doubt even after the admission of the US government? Perhaps you should see this. This intriguing surveillance footage captured an unusual sight behind a parked car. Late at night, a humanoid figure emerges. The creature appears hairless and pale with smaller arms positioned in front of its body. It looked around for a moment before retreating into the darkness. The appearance of this creature does indeed seem rather eerie and could be reminiscent of descriptions of extraterrestrial beings in some accounts. Simply put, it looks like an alien, and I do believe it's actually one. What's your take? Next is this peculiar security footage from Kentucky, where a strange entity was spotted walking along the streets. The entity appears to be a body of white smoke taking on a humanoid shape. It moves unusually, crouching down to its waist and placing its arms on its knees while looking around as if to watch out for someone or something. What could it be? No one knows. All we have are theories and speculations. Some in the comments section of the original posts even joked with @ant7018, a user on YouTube, stating this: 300-pound woman films a scrawny husband sneaking home from the bar late at night. While it's humorous, it still leaves us with questions. What is that? Why is it there? Is it even real? If any of you can provide answers, please go ahead and do so in the comments section. We'll be reading. If you still haven't hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment, could you do it now? Thanks very much, it means a lot and allows us to create more content like this. Moving on to the next clip. Now, we started today's episode with a Bigfoot, and we've had several others in the episode. But believe me when I tell you, this next one is equally as convincing as a Bigfoot sighting. This footage was taken by another explorer while going through the woods. Unlike the many other Bigfoots we have seen who were filmed from behind moving through the woods, this particular one was filmed from afar, and yet it could see that it had been discovered and was being filmed. I'm not particularly sure if he understands the concept, but to confuse the one looking in his direction and filming, he decided to stay in one place, hoping he might not get noticed or be interpreted to be something else. Cheeky, huh? Has any of you encountered a Bigfoot that behaved as such? Please tell us in the comment section. In this video, we find ourselves in the eerie company of two peculiar figures, their long raven black hair cascading like a shroud over their unsettling presence. Their behavior is far from ordinary as they move in an uncanny manner on all fours, defying the conventions of humanity. What truly chills the soul is the horrifying scene they seem to be confronting. They appear to be feasting on the flesh of a dead deer. Speculation runs wild with dark and disturbing theories emerging. Could it be a macabre gathering of lifeless bodies, hinting at a sinister appetite for human flesh? The term person eater hangs heavily in the air, conjuring images of an unspeakable horror that defies reason. What are your thoughts on this spine-tingling capture? Is it a glimpse into the shadows of the supernatural, or is there a more mundane explanation lurking just out of sight? Share your insights and theories in the comments, for this is a riddle that demands our collective curiosity. Next, we visit India, where a group of friends in India had a perplexing encounter one night when they came across a strange creature on their path. From the footage, we can see that this unusual entity had human-like limbs, but was somehow standing on all fours like an acrobat would. Its most striking features include a bald head and what appeared to be a beard on its chin. Or is that its head? It's hard to say with the way its body is set up. Obviously, the creature is unlike anything we've encountered, and its appearance undoubtedly raises many questions. While skeptics might suggest that it could be a hoax or a result of creative video editing, you can't deny that even if that was the case, it's still scary. But what do you think? Hoax or the real deal? Tell us in the comments section. Trailcams have indeed been a fascinating tool for capturing strange creatures in the forest, from Bigfoot to rakes, skinwalkers, siren heads, and more. The owner of this Trailcam had a terrifying surprise when they discovered these images. In the first photo, a goblin-like creature was standing facing the camera with a human-like body, but distinctive features like a large nose, long elf-like ears, and a bald head. In the second photo, it appeared to be the same creature, but on the other side of its body there were two arms, one on top of the other, and it had an elongated mouth. Is it really the same creature? Could it be that it has multiple limbs, but only one was picked up by the first Trailcam due to the camera angle? Well, we can't say for sure, but after a thorough inspection, it was determined that these creatures were likely not humans in costumes. This leaves us with the eerie possibility of these creatures being real. Either that or the footage is edited. What do you think? The next footage was captured by a highway surveillance camera in the UK back in 2007. Take a look. The footage starts off looking painfully ordinary and blurry, but suddenly a mysterious creature emerges from one side of the road and swiftly dashes across to the other. This creature appeared to have 4 legs, long limbs, and a tail, but what set the paranormal bells ringing was its ghostly and ethereal appearance. What's even more bewildering is the lack of reaction from the passing cars. Normally, you'd expect drivers to stop or swerve to avoid any animal, but it appears that none of the drivers even registered the presence of this mysterious creature. To rule out any potential tampering or editing, experts conducted a thorough investigation and concluded that the footage was indeed authentic. So, what on earth is that? Where did it come from, and are our streets really safe? I know this sounds sensationalist, but think about it. In Mexico, a street surveillance camera captured an eerie and puzzling scene. In the video, a woman dressed in white emerges from the darkness into a well-lit area. She appears to be in distress, looking behind her and running while shouting for help. It seems something is pursuing her. However, when you inspect the area behind her, there is nothing visible. Upon closer examination, as the woman reaches the well-lit path, you can spot a smoky, human-like apparition at the end of the wall she emerged from. This entity seems to be following her, but as soon as she enters the well-lit area, it comes to a halt, standing in the darkness. This strange encounter captured by the surveillance camera is very strange. I'm sure if the camera hadn't captured this, no one would have believed her. Have you ever had one of those feelings when you knew someone was around? Those feelings you typically have in the shower when you have soap all over your face and a still voice tells you to open your eyes because someone is there. Typically there's no one, right? But what if there was someone? Well, take a look at this footage. This leopard had similar feelings, and when it turned around, there it was, an animal as large as it was. It went into instinct mode and jumped. And who can blame it? It didn't know what it was. A few seconds into its high and panicky jump, it realizes it's another cat in its family. If it were me, someone would definitely get the slipper. In the midst of a remote, snowy wilderness, a group of friends embark on a journey deep into the heart of the unknown, hoping for a thrill. As they venture deeper, amidst the eerie silence of this secluded realm, a mysterious figure comes into view. It's a being that seems to be plucked from the annals of cryptozoology, the Bigfoot. The infamous, hairy, and towering creature is running, its movements both swift and elusive. Adding to the intrigue, the video captures more than just a Bigfoot. Through the eerie green light of the camera, another mysterious figure of similar height and stature emerges. What do you make of this particular occurrence? Is it truly Bigfoot, or could there be an even stranger explanation for these chilling figures in the snow? The comments section awaits your thoughts and theories. Please head over and share them. In this next footage, a woman ventured into the forest in search of edible plants. As she carefully explored the vegetation, she suddenly noticed an unusual movement within some nearby bushes. Without hesitation, she promptly fled from the scene. The source of this movement could have been a concealed animal, the rustling of leaves in the wind, or even an individual. Regardless, her quick departure was a wise choice, as the situation might have posed a potential danger. But if you were the one in this situation, what would you have done? If you said flee, well, that's a good decision, but there's more. After the footage was sent to us, we did some digging and realized the footage was from an individual filming themselves in the forest. This makes us think it might have all been planned, but then again, what do you think? What would you do if you were walking around at night and suddenly came across a doll in the middle of the road? Well, if it were me, I'd just walk away, but no, not the one who filmed the clip. He stands for a while, recording the strange doll and wondering what to do. As he stands staring at the doll, it suddenly moves and topples over. This sends shivers down his spine. After standing for a second or two, he makes a tactical retreat. But you have to wonder, is this whole thing believable? Why did the doll suddenly fall like that? If it's real, is there an otherworldly creature controlling it? Questions, questions, and questions. In another peculiar scenario, a homeowner was left in astonishment when he reviewed the footage from this outdoor security camera. In the dead of night, the camera captured an almost naked man standing in front of the house. This man was engaging in a bizarre and erratic dance. The situation didn't appear to be a mere prank, but rather suggested the involvement of a person dealing with mental health issues or under the influence of drugs. It's evident that the individual was not under any supervision, and wandering around nearly nude in the street raises concerns for their safety. Hopefully, this person is located and provided with the necessary assistance and support they require. Ever had such an experience? Please share in the comments section. Speaking of sharing experiences, please send in your clips. As long as they're bizarre and out of this world, we will feature them. And if you're unsure of what you captured, don't worry. I'm sure the thousands of subscribers who watch the videos could help you make sense of it. Simply send it to classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. Moving on. In the heart of the night, under a pitch-black canopy of trees, a brave group of adventurers embark on a quest. Their breath visible in the frigid air, their journey is shrouded in secrecy. The obscurity of the forest amplifying every sound and rustling leaf. Armed with matches, their tiny torches flicker like fragile embers, offering glimpses into the abyss. As they approach a sinister cave, its ominous mouth seems like a portal to a realm not meant for human eyes. The feeble light dances, revealing an eerie figure standing guard at the entrance. This mysterious sentinel, a creature with limbs akin to an unknown avian species, hesitates on the precipice of the unknown. Its intent remains a riddle concealed in its inky silhouette. With the aura of forbidden knowledge, the entity moves with calculated caution, perhaps to protect the secrets concealed within the cavern's ancient walls. There's an unspoken tension, a silent agreement between the explorers and this otherworldly gatekeeper. Is this entity the legendary cave goblin or the elusive Tommyknocker? Figures entwined with folklore's chilling narratives. Yes, I did go all Shakespeare on you, but what do you think this is? Tell us in the comments section, preferably in plain language. This footage was captured by an adventurous hiker out on a nature expedition. As he goes deeper into the forest, he stumbles upon something super strange. Right there in the patches of sunlight coming through the trees is this bony, weird-looking figure. It's crouched down, moving in an almost eerie way, as if it's up to something mysterious. The hiker, totally baffled, decides to investigate. He grabs a stake for safety and tosses it at the strange creature, half expecting it to jump at him or something, but what happens next is out of this world. The creature does react, but instead of attacking, it goes off in a super agile, almost ghostly way. It scampers up the roof of the nearby house, blending into the shadows and vanishing from sight. Now, the big question is, Is this whole thing a human-made trick, like a fancy puppet or some computer wizardry, or is it from a realm way more mysterious than our hiker ever imagined? Before you say anything, allow me to say what I think, and please don't crucify me. It's definitely fake. It looks like a computer manipulation that was not well done. Why would someone try to make fun of the paranormal community by creating something like this? You know what? Breathe in and out. Ah, yes, that's much better. Back to what I was saying. This is clearly not real, at least from my perspective. What's yours? And for our final clip, we visit the home of a bewildered homeowner. She captures a series of inexplicable events that unfold in the sanctity of a living room. At the beginning of the video, a black cat curiously meanders about, piquing her interest, but soon to be overshadowed by something far more disconcerting. Strange, unnatural knocks seem to manifest and protrude from the walls, defying all rational explanation.
Can you stop? Fuck out!
The room, once serene, becomes a stage for these perplexing occurrences, sending shivers down her spine. As she attempts to address the disconcerting situation, a sense of unease pervades her voice. An eerie encounter occurs as she implores the unknown presence to depart, aiming the camera at the reflective surface in a bid to capture this strange phenomena. Suddenly, a second, uninvited presence emerges from the shadows, inciting an exclamation of fear and disbelief.
I don't know. And my reflection's creeping me out. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You guys saw that, right? I'm not bugging. Like, here's my reflection.
As evening descends, a new twist in this strange narrative unfolds. The homeowner continues recording, unaware of the shadowy figure that traverses her space. Only when the source of illumination reveals the intruder's presence does she apprehend that she is not alone in her home. Who or what could be responsible for these unsettling, almost playful hide-and-seek manifestations? The answer remains elusive, leaving us to contemplate the nature of these mysterious occurrences. What are your theories and speculations? Please share them in the comments section. That's it for today's episode. If you have any Trailcam footage you'd like the rest of the world to see, please send it over to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. Don't be shy, and don't think it's crazy. We'll help you make sense of even the most bizarre of captures. What's more, we'll give you the credit unless you want to remain anonymous. As you do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out a ton. See you in the next one. What would you do if you were on a deep water expedition and suddenly had webbed fingers pressing against your submersible? As you try to imagine what your reaction will be, this guy already lived out the experience as far back as 2013 in the Greenland Sea. He was filming his experience when the creature just hit the submersible from nowhere. Luckily for him, he was safely enclosed. I can only imagine what the creature had in mind as it approached the man. Some believe it's a mermaid, and others think it might be some other dangerous deep water creature. What about you? What do you think? Moving from 2013, we take footage from the next year, which is of course 2014. This next clip was captured by a family enjoying a peaceful hike along the riverside in Calgary, Canada. If you have followed the channel long enough, then you know that they definitely stumbled upon a perplexing sight that has baffled and may even continue to baffle viewers to this day. Have a look. In the clip, a massive figure appears in the distance. The creature, entirely covered in brown fur from head to toe, exhibits characteristics indicative of a bipedal creature. The length and overall appearance of the figure strongly hint at a resemblance to the often elusive being known as Sasquatch or Bigfoot. It quickly leaves the area as is seen with all Bigfoot sightings, leaving everyone convinced it's really Bigfoot. Also, I am everyone. I agree that this might actually be Bigfoot. Call it a hunch. What about you? This footage was taken in Pennsylvania. Residents of the area were constantly disturbed by strange noises in the woods, so one night some brave souls went out there to check it out, only to come face to face with this creature. This thing had white fur, and it stood at an impressive 7 feet tall. It's like the creature didn't expect company, because the moment it locked eyes with the humans, it got one heck of a fright and disappeared into the forest. Now, it's got the look of an albino Bigfoot, but here's where things get interesting, because Yetis are typically found in cold regions, and this did not look like one. So, perhaps this could be a case of a genuine white-furred Bigfoot, and those are pretty rare compared to the usual black or brown-furred ones. Quite the head-scratcher, wouldn't you agree? This next footage is a sighting of a creature we have never seen before. Perhaps you could help us find out what it is. Late one night, while driving along a remote road, an individual noticed some unusual movement in the forest to their left. Intrigued, they grabbed their phone and started recording. As they approached, the creature became more visible. Standing right at the edge of the forest was a furry figure. It's not certain whether the creature is kneeling or moving, but it moves in weird patterns. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of the darkness and the footage quality, it's challenging to definitively identify this mysterious being. The possibilities of what it could be are wide open. What do you see when you look at it? Tell us in the comments section. Next, we have a peculiar and perplexing Trailcam capture that emerged from the remote wilderness of northern Alaska. Take a look. In the clip, we see the emergence of a strange creature from the dense woods. At first glance, this entity appears to have a human-like form, albeit with some stark deviations from the norm. Its most striking features include disproportionately slender arms and finger-like appendages that resemble claws. The creature's movements are equally strange and far from the fluid grace typically associated with human locomotion. These anomalies raise a puzzling conundrum. What exactly is this being? Where did it come from, and is it dangerous? The owner of the Trailcam who shot this wondered the same and uploaded it online for some answers, but all he got in turn were questions. What do you think about it? Have you ever had a stare-off with someone to establish your dominance? If you have, I doubt you looked as cool as the characters in this next clip. Take a look. In this image, we see a raccoon and deer looking in the direction of each other. If you know anything about wildlife, you would know that these two species don't usually interact with each other, as they are both busy with their own stuff. Here in this capture, however, we see something else. It's like they're both saying, "You're looking at me?" It's hard to say who started this little standoff, but my money's on the raccoon. That species isn't exactly known for its peaceful demeanor now, is it? Next, we have something cute for you. On second thought, it's only cute if you don't own the Trailcam in the footage. In the footage, we see a curious black bear cub that seems to have stumbled upon a Trailcam in the forest. This little guy had no idea what to make of this strange alien object and, like any curious youngster, decided to give it a good inspection. He sniffed around the camera, scratched at the slippery lens, and played around with it for a while. But as you'd expect, after a bit, it lost interest and went off on its way. Adorable, isn't it? If you owned the camera, you'd be upset because of possible damage, but even then, you won't be able to deny that was cute. So, there's this Reddit user, Bianca515, who used to find her place all messed up when she returned home from work. Not having a clue about what was going on, she decided to play detective and set up cameras all around her house, hoping to catch the mysterious culprit in the act. But boy, was she in for a surprise. In the footage, we see a curious black bear cub that seems to have stumbled upon a Trailcam in the forest. This little guy had no idea what to make of this strange alien object and, like any curious youngster, decided to give it a good inspection. He sniffed around the camera, scratched at the slippery lens, and played around with it for a while. But as you'd expect, after a bit, it lost interest and went off on its way. Adorable, isn't it? If you owned the camera, you'd be upset because of possible damage, but even then, you won't be able to deny that was cute. In this intriguing Trailcam footage, we're presented with puzzling footage of a creature that leaves more questions than answers. The footage, admittedly glossy and unfocused, reveals a humanoid figure moving across the camera's frame. While the video quality might not allow for crystal clear identification, it's evident that the creature is not human. The being displays the characteristics of a humanoid figure with recognizable limbs, 2 legs and 2 arms, and a head mounted on a neck. However, the most striking feature is the creature's disproportionately long legs, making its proportions distinctly inhuman. The obscure nature of this sighting leaves us with a host of possibilities. Could it be a manifestation of the legendary Slenderman, a cryptid of some kind, or something entirely different? We can't say for sure, but would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think that is? In 2011, a cave explorer had a spine-chilling encounter in a cave nestled deep in the Colombian woods. In 2011, a cave explorer had a spine-chilling encounter in a cave nestled deep in the Colombian woods. Now, this Trailcam footage is something truly special. Just take a look at this remarkable scene. There's a deer right there, standing tall and proud, staring directly into the Trailcam. And what's even more fantastic, just above its majestic antlers, there's a dazzling fireworks display lighting up the sky. It's as if this deer chose the perfect moment and spot for this shot. Absolutely breathtaking. Or perhaps someone just edited the footage so we could think so. What do you think? For our final footage, we thought we'd sign off with something lighthearted. Enjoy this beautiful footage of a lynx cat and tell us something that catches your fancy about these cats. And with that, we conclude today's episode. If you have any Trailcam footage you'd like the rest of the world to see, please send it over to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. Don't be shy and don't think it's crazy. We'll help you make sense of even the most bizarre of captures. What's more, we'll give you the credit unless you want to remain anonymous. As you do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as it helps us out a ton. See you in the next one.